Welcome to the Work-Life Compass. I'm your host, Mariia Elsayed, career coach and LinkedIn influencer. I'm here to help you to build your career path that truly aligns with who you are. Welcome back to Work-Life Compass, the podcast that helps you navigate your career, mental health, and everything in between. I'm your host, Mariia Elsayed, and today we're shifting gears to focus on leadership, mindset, and the importance of keeping your options open when it comes to career growth. Our guest today is Kevin Morningstar, a professional trainer and the person who's helping others to develop their skills and leadership potential. Kevin is passionate about the idea that growth comes from keeping an open mind and never limited your opportunities. Here's here share his insights on leadership and how important it is to engage in meaningful conversations. If you're looking to strengthen your leadership skills or need a mindset shift in your career, this episode is for you. Let's get started. Kevin, welcome to the Work-Life Compass.
Excellent. Thanks for having me here today.
I'm excited to have you here today, and you spent your last few years as a professional trainer, and can you tell us a little bit about that and about your background?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. So I was kind of always developing as a performer to some degree. I have a musician's background I studied music for 4 years in college and loved doing live performances, live experiences, things like that. And a couple of years back, I got a chance to start working as a professional trainer, doing different types of courses to get people ticketed for different jobs and things like that. And so I started, and I took things a little bit too seriously at first. And it was a little bit as I look back at it, it's a little bit awkward now that I think about how I used to do things. And as I developed into more of a character, I was able to start developing, a different kind of experience when it comes to training. I think a lot of times people go through an experience where they're going through the motions. They don't actually care about the end result and the persons that are with them in their time. And so I felt like I was able to actually develop into a good experience. It was a good show. It was always a lot of fun. And, it could have been 6 days a week doing the same thing over and over again. And I was able to at least provide a really good experience for people to actually want to listen to you and want to hear from you. And I made some friends out of that and had a chance to kind of move that around to different courses and different companies, things like that. So it's actually provided me with different places to travel and everything else. It's been interesting for sure.
You have very interesting facilitation style. What helped you to develop that? Any kind of videos or specific trainings or mentors?
That's a good question. I don't know that I've had any. I think mentors, that's a loose phrase because I haven't had anybody really spending time with me to develop the way that I do a presentation. I think that's come through just you have a platform, and once you have a platform, the platform changes you. I think that's a big part of this whole thing. And so my approach to life as a whole, is I always want to be active to the surrounding around me. So I kind of play off of what's live on the floor, what's happening now. I try and stay as real as I can. And so to develop into the style that I teach or that I provide, it really is, it's kind of like I take the character of Deadpool and just try and take away some of the, the 18 stuff, like the 18 plus stuff. I take that stuff out as much as I can to keep it real, keep it raw, and talk about things like it's meant to be spoken about. Don't try and be too nerdy. Don't try and be too serious about things. Have fun with it. Call it for what it is. Say it to what it is, and don't try and overdo it. Don't try and to be too serious with it, because I think people just be like, "Come on, man! Let's move along. Let's move along." So I want to be as human as I can be in the live experience, and still provide a lot of did he just say that? Oh my gosh, I need to keep listening because I'll make references all day long. I'll make references to anything pop culture or socially or anything that's happening in the current age. And it makes things a lot more fun because that means I'm not just training the manual. I'm not just training the course material. I'm actually training the person. And I think that makes a very big difference in how I present information, is I'm very real and it's live right now for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. I saw how you facilitate the workshop, and it's the place that you don't want to leave, that you would like to continue to sit there and just absorbing those knowledges because you're very passionate about what you do. And the audience is very engaging. They have a lot of fun and they practice and they would remember this information definitely because it's sort of game mode for them. They feel like they're playing, but on the same time, they take in a lot of knowledges and they go out from the workshops very happy. Even it was a long day, even was very difficult information, a lot of numbers, acronyms, different words, but you gave this information very simple, very easy, and to make them learn more, make them want to know more about the topic. And this is amazing thing that it's not just as a lecture, it gives you a feeling that you are important there, that your opinion matters, and the facilitator is not there just to present the slides that they brought, but also you care about that each person in the class will understand the information and will have the value. And that is amazing. Thank you for what you do.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's actually a lot of fun as a person. I enjoy it a lot.
It's obvious for people who will attend your workshops or the training that you do that you love what you do, that you really enjoy that.
Absolutely.
And what does having the right mindset mean to you, and especially in leadership role?
I think that's a personal question because mindset for me has always been, it could all like be my greatest strength and greatest weakness sort of at the same time, because you know, as I'm going through my day and my life, things will happen, positive and negative, and they can push and pull you in very different ways. And when it comes to mindset in training, I always want to deliver an idea or make an impact and leave them with a challenge to develop more, do greater, or be more. I always want to get like an emotional attachment or an impact to them. And sometimes that is challenged because you could be going through something very difficult, and that could be through leadership at work or people you work with and other circumstances. So a lot of times, like I would be going through something at work that was really difficult. And because I kept the mindset of providing good information or being the right person at the right time, I've had opportunities present themselves to me. And that is the highest testimony or testament to my experience as a trainer, because I've been through a lot personally and individually through, you know, how I do training or what I'm providing. And then to have people recognize this guy's a different character, this guy's a different type of person, and I want to work with that, or I'd like to partner with that. And like I say, that's provided its own opportunities moving forward, which to me is very exciting. So mindset, it's so big a box. I don't even know where it starts or it ends sometimes, because as a person, you sometimes go by faith, thinking to yourself, this is where I'm supposed to be right now. I need to give this the best that I can. And because that mindset has provided so many different leads and opportunities moving forward.
Absolutely. We're all humans. We have different kind of personal things and need to think about that. We need to take care about, but when you go and you perform and you have to be there for your audience, for the listeners, for people. And sometimes you feel exhausted and stressed, depressed, whatever, or sick. And then people are waiting for you and you have to be there. You have to play different character. And it resonates with me a lot. I had different kind of situation, like even one of the situation that I can remember right now, I was very sick. I had very high fever and I got a cold. And that day I had a workshop where around 40 people been waiting for me, and they've been waiting for the information. And the workshop was 3 p.m. and at 11, I began to feel like I'm dying. I just cannot move. Started to have very high fever. Then what I did, I ran to the pharmacy. I bought different kind of medication and I took them all on the same time and huge cup of coffee, and then like by 2:30 I've been like full of energy. I was great. I facilitated the workshop for 2.5 hours. We had Q&A session. People was happy, and I got back to my office, just took my stuff, went home, and I was very, very sick, but not even one person understood that I've been sick. And because when you go to the audience, you play the character. Here's another person, and sometimes, and it's the thing that I tell, like, I have different kind of personalities, and this is an actor personality who cares about every single person but doesn't care about myself. And sometimes it's really difficult. You just go there and people laughing, smiling, you smiling with them, and you're happy and you got this energy. When you get back to your car, you're like, oof, this mask go out. And you feel there and you see they're miserable, sad. And sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes we have different kind of mood, but when you're there for the people, you have to be there 100%. They are there to hear this information. And that's the other side, to be a great facilitator, I believe. To give all your energy to people, even you don't feel well that time.
Yeah, and I understand feeling well it's not always just about how we might feel sick or not sick. I think it's the temperature of the water. It could be the entire, leadership core. It could be the environment that you're a part of. It could be the group of guys that you're training as well too. The group of guys could be, really negative or really standoffish or cold or non-responsive. And all of those things are mindset, right? So I went into a training session one time where I had no voice, and it was really gone. And I stood in front of like a stand and a microphone with an amplifier. And I mindset wise, like I had no voice. I still did my job. And there are times you got a tough crowd and still did my job. And there are times you're fighting with management and you're still doing your job at the high level. I think that's the mindset. So you could be physically impaired to some kind and still do your job. And so I've been through really just all of those things. And I've been through something as crazy as not even knowing the discussion topic, like not even understanding what you're supposed to be doing there, and providing certification for something you've never even done. I think that is just that there's so much to say about that. And so mindset is a big box for sure.
Do you believe that keeping an open mindset helps you when faced the difficult situation?
Yeah, open mindset has always been what's led me on moving forward, because I've never had that in my mind where I feel that where I am is where I'm going to land forever. I've always kept an open mindset to where life could take next. So I don't try and, wherever I go, I'm very much there, and I'm always open to other conversations moving forward. Because if you're closed to something, you never know what you've passed, or you never know what you've passed by. And so it's kind of the phrase, like it's, you might be scared of something at the time, but if you don't take that opportunity, you lose the chance to have the fun. And so in my mind, I think too many people stay at their jobs or in situations for too long, and they miss opportunity for potential growth moving forward. They don't even allow growth to happen because their doors are just locked up. So open mindset for me has always actually provided me with what seems to be enough energy or enough boost to move forward in life, as opposed to keeping a closed mindset, like, this is so bad, or this has happened to me and I can't change this, or I can't do anything with that. And now I have an opportunity to keep an open mindset where anything is possible, and things have actually provided itself through just having that perspective.
For me, closed mindset, when people said it was working perfectly for 20 years, we've been doing this like for 20 years, same with no changes, and we don't have to change anything. Even if there's a lot of opportunities, some people, they think that it's risk, maybe it will not work out. But for me, I always jump when I'm scared. I've been opening the businesses, traveling, like doing many things, and people think that I'm fearless, but I do afraid about the risks sometimes. And I think like maybe it will not work out, but what if it will work out? What if it will work out and some people don't give themselves a chance, or to people around, if somebody depend from them to grow or to change something, because they think it will not work out. They don't let themselves about building a new career, new business, any kind of change in business. Worst case scenario, you have to get back to the procedure what you had before. You will continue to do the things that how you did before, and even trying or implementing some new things. It will not crush the business that's been standing for years. And I've been a business owner for more than 10 years back home, and it teach me to listen people around, to listen to employees, their ideas. We will not implement all of them once, but step by step, by listening. Even if 2-3 people talk about the same thing and implementing this to the company or to the things that you do. So I guess it's time to listen, to hear them. It's important to think about opportunities, to not waste your time on just continue. It depends, what do you want to achieve in life? It's about that.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
And this podcast for immigrants and for people who's looking for different opportunities on different fields. And do you have any advice what you could give to someone who's unsure about making a change or pursuing a new opportunity?
Yeah, I think, I don't think there's many people in this world who could actually even say that where they are is where they intended to be or become. I don't think, it's very rare that people actually, land where they wanted to or planned on it all from the beginning. And so what I can say once again is the opportunities that I think are best served to the person, it's always about, in my mind, atmosphere to you. If you're becoming a better person, if you're challenged for growth, then I think that's always an opportunity worth searching out, because at your best allows you to sell yourself best, right? If you're not in a situation where you can stand out or you can be noticed or you're at your finest moments, the people that could move your life forward are not seeing you, right? Or they're seeing you at a low spot, and you don't have an opportunity to move yourself into a different conversation. And that's one of the things to me that I've always been willing to do, is always be open to a conversation, because if you don't have that, you have nothing. So to me, new opportunities are always about, does this make you better? Could this make you better? Are you in a place that you could be a 7 or an 8 out of 10 for yourself? If you're in a place where you're in perpetual fear of who you are, or being, neglected for who you are, and not having opportunity to shine or show yourself off, I think that's an opportunity that, is past you. That's not something that's going to serve you anymore. And so new opportunities, it has to be more than just a money move. It has to be more than that. It has to actually be an opportunity for you as a person to become a better version of yourself, and to have those opportunities for growth. If that doesn't happen, I just think that there's a big lack in that new experience for any person. So new opportunities need to be more than just a money move. I think that's the biggest thing that I can encourage. And hopefully there's all those things wrapped up in it as well too. It can't just be only, one thing and that's enough for me. It needs to be, you becoming better or having the opportunity to be a better person in order to consider those opportunities. But when it comes to fear, everyone's taken on a new role or position or a new job title and not known anything. I mean, that's what we all do. We all kind of imposter until we actually become the person that is required. And so don't, never not move forward because of uncertainty. I think that actually is part of the growth process, and you have to experience that. It's actually kind of fun in some ways, And I've got different stories of kind of being that, and how that worked out for me was kind of interesting for sure. So
That is awesome. Can you share some of the stories?
yeah, for sure. So basically, I know for myself, like I'm more of a people person kind of character. That's who I am. And I was doing some general contracting for a number of years, and I was feeling kind of like, it's like you can do the job. So it's like, I can do the job. I have a job. So be happy with what you have and just kind of, life's like, this is how it goes, right? Like that's enough. That's all you need to do. And I know for myself, I wanted to get back into working with people again. And so I heard of an opportunity, and there was a posting to doing some training, and I hadn't done this stuff before, but I wanted to get working with people. So in my mind, I thought, well, let's just go and throw myself at it. And basically, I heard from the manager that they'd like to have a conversation on Friday at around 12 or 12:30, something like that. And so I took my lunch and I was waiting to hear from them. They didn't call. And so I called them back on Friday. They didn't respond. I'm thinking to myself, well, there it goes. Now that's a closed door, unfortunately, but I really wanted the opportunity. I ended up calling on Monday morning at around like 8, like really early in the morning. And the manager answers the phone and they says, hello. I said, hi, it's Kevin. And you said you were going to call me and you didn't. So here's that phone call back. How is it going? What's going on? Oh yeah, Kevin. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, man. We've hired somebody for that position. And for most people, that's not only a closed door. That's like, oh, I'm sorry for wasting your time. Hang up the phone. And what I ended up doing is I said to the guy on the phone, to the manager, I said, you hired the wrong person, because it's me. I'm the person. You hired the wrong guy, is what I told him on the phone. And he was kind of blown away. Like, that's kind of ballsy. Like, that's a Deadpool moment, right? That's Deadpool right there. Like, you got the wrong guy, like 100%. And so I told him, I said, you got the wrong guy. I said, because I'm your guy. You haven't hired me yet, so you've done the wrong thing here. So he was really surprised by the response on that. And he says, okay, well, would you mind coming in tomorrow morning for an interview? And I'm like, absolutely, let's do this. So I went in Tuesday morning and I just sold myself to the board. I sold myself to the management and everything else. And I landed the job. I actually got it from there, which is kind of fun. And then I asked, I said, what happened to the other guy that you had hired, your other dude? And I guess he was wanted for armed robbery. Like, the other guy was wanted for armed robbery. I told you I was your guy. Like, you just have to go with it. So, open mindset. I'd never done it before. I didn't know anything about the field of study. I hadn't done any, a lot of training at that time. And so I stepped into a role that I had to fake lie about just to get involved in it. And I did that. And then there's, piles and piles of 5-star Google reviews over and over and over again. Kevin's this and that, great, this, great, this, great, that, everything else. So it turned out, pretty.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing this story. I believe it will be very beneficial. Just be proactive and just call them. Just pick up the phone and call them and ask the question, like worst case scenario that they will tell you no, but at least you did 100%. You did everything you could do for this opportunity. You hired somebody else, like, thank you, bye, and that's it, and you lose the opportunity. But when you do this, it's going above and beyond. It's trying to be active and to take the leadership role of your life, because you're the main thing.
That's right.
The
That's right.
CEO of
Absolutely.
your life, and you control everything. It's about reaching out to people. Is the same when you need a job immediately. You just go walk in, restaurant by restaurant, shop by shop. You go there, you just bring your resume and you talk with people and you tell them, I'm here, I'm looking for a job, I need that. Worst case, they will tell you we're not hiring. Ask them when they will hire. Again, just ask the questions, be active, and it can be life changing.
100%. Yeah, I agree.
I have some questions from our listeners, and if you have questions, you can text me on the LinkedIn with your question that I will ask the next guest. And I have a first question: how I can develop my leadership skills if I'm not currently in a leadership position? That's
excellent. Great question. I read a book. I think his name is Robin Sharma, something like that. Something to do with leadership is not the title, or I am not the leader title, or something of that nature. And it's something that universe. I read that book, and the whole book was talking about sort of the same idea. And how do I develop my leadership skills if I'm not in leadership? I train it this way: is leadership is not a big sign that falls out of the sky. Ding, 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 leadership. There's not like lights everywhere. There's a ding, 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 leadership opportunity. Da, 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 da. There's no such thing. It doesn't happen. If you're looking for it, it's not going to happen. It doesn't go up. What you need to do is, it's an internal feeling. It's the door. It's opening the door for the lady. It's opening the door for the lady that is going to need it. It's I've helped pay for groceries before. That providing leadership. I think leadership is so much greater than somebody sitting there having to listen to you. Therefore, I am a leader. I think leadership is more important than just being a leader. Leadership is influence, right? So my current role, my position, I was speaking to a couple of co-workers, and they were having issues with previous leadership and the person who was doing those things. And so I come in with exorbitant amounts of energy, lots of energy, very positive, very enthusiastic, and instantly, regardless of my title, they want to listen to me. They want to hear what I have to say. And then there are times when I'm weak, and I'm safe to ask them questions, even if I'm in a leadership position. Because leadership to me is not just something that only one person has, that we can share it, we can both develop it. So I think leadership is more about taking the next risk of being a leader, whatever that looks like. If you're speaking out on the bus, something's happening on a bus, and you say, hey man, that's not right, don't do that. That's leadership. That's that sign coming out of the sky going leadership opportunity. How you actually develop leadership is by doing it every day. You actually need to provide leadership where you're standing out, you're speaking out, you're not trying to be obnoxious, you're not trying to be rude, you're not trying to stand out in a negative way, but you're actually standing for something that is positive for growth for yourself, the experience around you, or for others around. I remember a time when I was in my early teens, I think it was about 17, 18, and I was taking a small shuttle bus from our community into the city. And on the side of the road, a truck had flipped over, and we stopped. And everyone on the bus was just watching. I got out, and I helped to open the door because the truck was sitting, it was sideways. I helped to open the door just to help get the person out, providing leadership. It's not about being paid per hour. Therefore, I'm a leader. I think it's in who you are as a character, as a person. When I'm serving and doing music at my church, I'm looking for the person who responds to my music the most. And I ask them, what did you think of the music today? It's a shared experience. Now they feel safe to talk to the guy on the stage, and they think, oh, this is cool. Like, the guy's talking to me. This is kind of neat. And it's a ball of energy that needs to be passed and needs to be received, and it needs to be developed and grown, and you go and pass it and receive it again. I think it's not about I'm hired as a manager, I'm hired as as that kind of experience. I think leadership is the person. I think it's who you are. And if I go into a situation, I'm looking to provide solutions. I'm looking to be the person that changes the game a little bit or moves something forward, or where someone's stuck, I help them out. And I think that to me is, in a small sense, the call of leadership for everybody. And the people that actually act like that take that on, are the people I want to give my time to, because they're going to make me better as well too. I think that's a pretty holistic answer for sure.
Absolutely. I'm totally agree with you. And thank you for sharing that. Some people think that it's a role, but it's those skills that you can develop. Some people have it naturally from the childhood, but it's some of the things that you can develop just being active. Even if you have survival job, you will be the person who try to care about what's going on, who try to care about other people. The difference between leader and boss, because boss will always tell you what to do and always be that kind of like mad person, like bad guy. And the leader of the team will always take care about other employees, other people. And when you try to be active in your team, when you try to take care about stuff, even those not everything in your job responsibilities, but you really take care about the business and you really care what is going on there. So the people, your manager, your supervisor, they will see you. They will see that you really care about this business and about this place. And when they will have job opportunities, they will think about you because you try to
That's
build
right.
this business with them, and that is very important. So try to build leadership skills anytime, today, now. Just try to build that. If your goal is to be a leadership position, be leader where you are.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's, there's kind of a magic to it, is you're always on. The light that says on the air is always lit up. And when you go into Walmart, you're live. When you go to, your place of work, you're live. The camera's always rolling. And I think it's like, if you don't take the opportunity, you lose the chance to have the benefit. So leadership it's that sign that comes down that you're never going to see. It's feel it in your heart. You'll feel it for about 15 seconds, that crazy energy. And if you don't respond and somebody else takes it, that special is gone. And then there's a darker sense of regret because you know it was for you and you don't actually know what would have happened from that. So that's why I don't really say no to an opportunity, even if I'm not ready for it. I don't try and reject too many things that come my way. As long as I think they're good for others and good for the community and good for myself, I don't say no to a lot of things, depending, because I know that I'm able to influence for better. I think that is my foundation. It's not just to benefit myself, it's to benefit others. So those little opportunities will always land you in a better place and strengthen your character in those little moments. So you got 15 seconds of your heart's going zap, zap, zap. Do I do this? Do I not? Do I do this? Do I not? And over time, you want to take that 15 seconds to 10 seconds, then to 8 seconds, and take action, right? Take action towards that and move that forward. And I think that to me is that really has been the biggest, secret of my life, is to take action towards those little heart tickles, those little 15 seconds of like zap energy where you're like, I'm just going to go do this. And then the result has come out in great ways for myself, for sure.
I'm pretty similar to that. And when I was a child, I was getting in trouble because I was the person when we play with kids and we like go grab some apples. And I was the person like who've been looking for a tree with our neighborhood where we can steal some apples. And I collect all the kids around and we run there and just like, I'm looking for that everybody will get an apple and like whatever. And I had a lot of troubles about that. And when I grew up and even now, sometimes I jump when I'm scared. Like I don't have this kind of feeling like who gonna do this, or like there's a homeless person who need help outside of the building. I will not think twice. I will call 911 or I will go to facility and I will tell them that like there is a person who might need help, and I always jump. I'm there asking questions. I'm not thinking twice like who will do that. Like if I can do it, I go and do that. And sometimes it's a problem, and it's not all the people, like not all organizations are supporting people who are active, who are trying to go above and beyond. And sometimes there's difficulties. I had difficulties at some workplaces because my supervisor didn't want me to shine, but my goal wasn't to shine, just my goal was to help more people, just to give them more value. And it was the goal. It was important thing, not just like to be better than everybody else in the room or whatever. The goal was to help other people because I could do that, and it's about that for me. And I have another question from our audience. What's the best way to keep your options open when it feels like there is no opportunities?
Options open when there's no opportunities. There's answers to both sides of that question, because both of them provide results and answers. Options open and opportunities. Options open are as simple as, once again, you as the person, you're always selling yourself. And so it's as simple as whatever you're passionate about, always being around it. For example, I was in college taking music, and I was working with a guy. I was working in a warehouse, and he was the brewmaster at this warehouse. And he was saying his son was taking guitar lessons. And I basically said, no, like, take them from me. I made my own opportunity. And that's actually where I began teaching personal private guitar lessons, is from working with this guy. I made my own opportunity. My options are open. It's not just, oh, your son's taking lessons from, a music provider. That's great. Have a nice day. I made an opportunity. So, open mindset. I'm keeping that options open because I'm creating options. I'm creating my own options. And then the other side of things is when there's nothing being offered, opportunities wise, I think I have a challenge with that, because if you were to plug your email address into Indeed, for example, you'll get 25 or 30 email like a day, every day you'll get one email with like 25 options in the same sort of universe of what you're looking for. And that's one way of doing that. I think people are always looking for the next best person to move something forward. So in my mind, opportunities are absolutely everywhere. And a friend of mine years ago, she took a chance on me as well. She said, hey, Kevin, you're really young, but you're really charismatic. You're interesting. I want to bring you to a meeting and I want to show you a business. And it was just because I had, charisma that the opportunity came my way, right? I wasn't looking for something. I didn't know anything about that universe, but I still, the opportunity came to me because I had an open mind. So in my mind, opportunities, everyone's kind of heard about The Secret, the power of like positive mindset. And like, if you want something, you think about it and it'll come to you. I'm not always the biggest on that kind of mindset stuff, but I do think that if I'm looking for an opportunity, I'm actually going to be creating some. And in time, it'll come back to me, no different than what's happened to me over the last couple of weeks, where I had an employer reach out to me while I was working for a different company, and they offered me something greater than what I have, and I made a switch, right? And I was looking for opportunities. I was actually looking for something, and something actually did happen. So the question in itself, I've experienced where both can turn towards you at the same time. So there's always opportunities is the point. There's always opportunities. And I'm always trying to skill myself up to be ready for the next one or create the next one. I think that's where you start to become, your own, I don't want to say a boss. I think it's a small word, but I think when I start to become a little bit more of proud of my situation.
That is amazing approach, and that is another example of the right mindset. I believe there is always a lot of different opportunities. It's just about allow yourself to see them, to be able to see them, to have the right mindset, to be on the right place in your life, to see the opportunities. Because sometimes people who have master degree, PhD, whatever, and they said like there is no jobs, but there is a lot of jobs, but it just depends from where you look in. And it depends, because when you want to find the reason for yourself to not do that, you will find a list of reasons like why I don't have to do that. There is a billion reasons, like it's raining outside. It's not a good day to look for a job. So it depends from how you think, how you allowed yourself to be, and you are happy as much as you allow yourself to be. And it's very, very important. So for the people who say
Absolutely.
There's no opportunities, there are opportunities. You just need to take a rest, and then you will see them.
Yeah, absolutely. It was about 7 months ago, I was starting to keep my options open and looking, and I was having some big issues with a manager that just we didn't seem to see eye to eye with each other, and there was really some challenges. And I know for myself, like I have to kind of force myself into a place that I'm not comfortable with just to do my job, and I didn't think that was worth my time anymore, which, in a lot of ways it wasn't, but I definitely, I kept up what I wanted to do. I kept a high standard of what I was doing. And yet I knew the longer I was there, it was like, this just isn't the right thing for me anymore. The timing is gone and it's time to move on. And so a few months back, I was asked if I was able to do a course on a certain day. And I basically told the manager, said, yeah, look, we're good for it. No problem. And I took that account over. So I started to email the company directly about the information they were looking for. And they reached out and said, what's the time? What's the location? What's the place? They wanted to know all the details because they were intending on going to another provider, and they were actually going to go to somewhere in Victoria. So if we're talking far away, lots of issues, lots of hassle for them. I took the account over after the initial email came in from my manager. So I took that over and I started to kind of work it myself a little bit. And the manager says, where are we with this company? Where are we at with that lead? And I told him, I said, well, they're going to train with us. And I told them where we look, I told them our location. I told them what we do. And he started to he flew off the handle. He was so mad. He was swearing over the phone. He was yelling. He was freaking out completely. I was in absolute shock as an individual. And I was like, I don't understand what the big issue is. Oh, it's a big problem. You told them all our information and they never paid yet. And, every time you make a phone call, I want to know who you're talking to. And every email, I want to know who you're talking to and what are you doing? He just turned this situation from what was actually a good thing into something that was completely unnecessary. And I could never figure it out to this day why he was so dark. So the day happened where that company came in for the training course they were looking for, and I was already under this weight. So I'm at a -3 at zeros here and 10's way above there. I'm at -3 because of the situation. So the guys come in and I just kind of pushed past all that, and I'm sitting at myself, I'm going to give these guys a good experience. They didn't do nothing to harm us. It's all very good. And they said, Kevin, if you didn't respond as fast as you did, we were going to go somewhere else completely. We weren't even going to come with you guys whatsoever, but you were so quick on responding. I said, well, just go with these guys. So because I did my job more than appropriate, they actually decided to go with our services. So in my mind, okay, that's a big win. That's super duper. At the time of the first coffee break in our course, the two guys said, hey, Kevin, I'm not sure where you're at right now, but, would you ever consider maybe moving into doing what you're training into more of a full-time position? Our company is getting a license right now, and it's going to take us the next couple of months, but we'd like to maybe have a discussion with you in the future about maybe leading our division. And all this happened from all this junk and all this garbage. And I said to them, I'm always open to a conversation, right? That's kind of always been my lingo. I'm always open to a conversation. Let's chat in the future. Sounds good. So the last 2 months have happened, and we're talking the 2 months from September. So we're talking July, August, that time frame. And things have gotten worse with that same manager. I mean, I'm talking a lot worse. Different mandates, the way he talks to you or doesn't talk to you, the way that he treats other people so good but doesn't even recognize that you exist. All of that kind of games and just this social issues. It's just crazy amounts of garbage there. And ends up what happening is I get a text message on a Thursday from the company I did the training for. Hey, Kevin, are you free for a conversation? I'm always open to conversation. So I talked with the guys and they said, well, let's get together on Sunday and let's have a meeting. And I had that meeting with them, and just based on that, conversation, I had a contract presented to me, and it was for $15 more an hour than I was making. And it comes with a company car and a cell phone, and you get a laptop with it, and all of these things and more. I never had any of that stuff at my previous experience. Nothing. None of that. I had nothing but turmoil and fighting and problems. And I always presented myself like an 8. Some days you're a 7, sometimes you're a 9, but most days I'm always providing my service at a very, very high level. So these guys noticed that. They saw that in me. They presented something. So I met the guy on Sunday, and in Monday morning, I gave him my 2-week notice. I said, look, man, I can't do this no more. The amount of turmoil that came from that 2 weeks was mind-boggling. It's unheard of. However, that is an absolute living testimony of exactly what I'm talking about. Everything we've discussed to this very day, where I'm in a new position providing leadership, and I don't know everything about it. I'm not the best guy in the industry. I'm terrified pretty much every single day. And every next day I get through And I'm proud because I never quit. I never gave up. I just keep trying a little bit more. I'm on the job another day. So every next day that I have a chance to play the game, I have a chance to learn the game. I have a chance to get better at the game. I have a chance to kind of succeed at the game. And however long this thing lasts, however long it goes, it's still everything that got me to this point is consistent. It's congruent. It works. Everything we've talked about for this, past hour. And here's the exact result of what I'm talking about. I was under the most stress from a bad manager and I was putting out resumes. I was looking for opportunities and nothing was coming my way. Nothing was happening. And then I got a text message on a Thursday. And a couple of days later, I put in my 2-week notice. I mean, that is a living testimony of exactly what I'm referring to with everything I'm discussing. And so I hope that encourages or inspires. I hope that uplifts. I hope that, allows other people to really take something, to take charge, take heart, take courage for maybe some of their situations for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm very sorry that you've been through that experience. I'm sure that it affects a lot personal life and mental health when you're being in difficult, toxic environment. It's something what nobody have to go through. And my advice for people who are going through those kind of situation at the workplace, just apply for another job, because yes, you can have conversation with the manager, you can stand for yourself, but it will not change a person, unfortunately, because when people allow themselves to be disrespectful, to be harmful, to talk bad with their employees, it's their mindset, unfortunately, on this point of life. And unfortunately, they might have some mental health difficulties and they might need support, but you are not there to handle and to be in this environment. I've been in toxic environment too, where my boss was screaming at me and swearing, and I'm a woman, and it's different a little bit, and it was very difficult because I've been at home every time, angry, mad, didn't want to talk with anybody because didn't know what to do exactly in this situation. I didn't want to lose the job, but I couldn't continue at the same time. And it's an easy situation, absolutely. And what you can do, what is the right decision? It's to leave, to choose yourself.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
But I'm very happy for you that you got a great opportunity, and I'm sure that you will be great on this new position, on new place. And because you are very passionate about the job you do, if you would not accept the job offer, if you would not trust and believe in yourself that you can do it 150% at the workplace and be there for them and doing your job responsibilities, you would not accept that. So
right.
It means a lot that you open to new opportunities, to new knowledges, and it's amazing.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
People. What motivated you to join the WorkLifeCompass podcast?
That's a good question. I mean, leadership is influence, and the opportunity to support the podcast, of course, number one is kind of the biggest thing for sure. And then also two, it's a passion of mine to be able to, duplicate myself, duplicate ideas, get a chance to inspire others. Leadership doesn't have just to be a 9-to-5 experience. It's a life experience. And so if somebody is watching this and they make a different decision or they take a different action, the more of these opportunities that I feel I can have to encourage people in those ways, I'll take them. That's why I jump on the podcast, because maybe somebody else is inspired. Maybe somebody else is going to take action or take charge, or they're going to stop taking action on something that was not supporting. So as far as I'm concerned, I had the option to do this, and that's exciting to me. So I love the actual opportunity to support the podcast, and then also to encourage these ideas. I don't think we have enough positive going into us all that often. Everything, a lot of times we just have how we deal with negative is what we're good at humans, but we don't know actually receive a lot of positive. So I like to hope to think that whoever's viewing this or experiencing this, that they feel like their heart is being massaged a little bit, that they feel a little bit like better about their situation, they feel better about their future. So to support the channel and the podcast is huge in my mind for sure.
Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm sure that our listeners will have a lot of insights, a lot of motivation, and a lot of experiences that we shared today, knowledges that they can implement right now and that can be helpful in the future. What is the final advice would you give to our audience?
There's a lot of things that we've said, and I don't think there's one thing. I think there's so many things that have been said that could piece together for somebody. I think sometimes to retreat and to maybe distance themselves, go to a quiet place, sit in a corner where there's nothing expected of you and there's no expectations of you. You're not required to provide any kind of responsibilities, and just like think a little bit, because you might find yourself realizing you're not in the right places, and that only happens when the noise isn't happening. So I think sometimes to withdraw will kind of give you more clarity as to where you are and where you maybe want to be going. So I guess the biggest thing to encourage is to withdraw a little bit and ask yourself, is there value in this? Is there value in it for me, for others? And that's a way to encourage leadership, because then you know that you're in the right place or not the right place. And I've made different, times in my life where I have to kind of separate myself from my situation and just kind of say, is this serving myself? Is it serving the vision or the impact? So I guess the only advice I think, because everything we've said is the advice. Everything we've said up to this point is the advice. So the one last thing I think is just value retreat, value solitude and solace, and be okay with that. Being okay with taking Sunday from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock and block off time for yourself and just think, put ocean waves in your head or something, some speakers or something like that. Just sit there, have a journal, write. I don't want this. I want this in my life, or I want to read 10 pages a day, or I want to change this, or I want to change that. The withdrawal is maybe the biggest encouragement from everything else that we've talked about so far, is just take that time and just kind of, I guess, realign and refocus to where you want to be with yourself. It could be a walk. I mean, I do those a lot of times, just take a big walk and just kind of realigning your mindset with where you are in life, and being honest and saying, well, I don't think this is serving me anymore. I think it's time to make a move.
That's a great advice, to allow yourself to be yourself for a while, to realize where you are and which point, and then take the action. Very, very important.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for sharing your insights on leadership and mindset. And I'm sure that your advices and your story will be very beneficial to our listeners.
Absolutely. And I'd love to hear in the future any other questions that people have. I'd love to contact them directly or through yourself, and sometime in the future to be brought on the podcast again would be awesome. I'd appreciate that.
I would love to invite you again. And for our listeners, I hope you found today's episode insightful and inspiring. Remember, it isn't about having all the answers. It's about staying open, learning, and being willing to have conversations that move you forward. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe to WorkLifeCompass and share it with anyone who might benefit from today's conversation. I'm Mariia Elsayed, and it's WorkLifeCompass, your guide to navigating work, life, and everything in between. Stay strong, stay positive, and we'll see you on the next episode with a new guest. Keep growing, keep learning, and keep being authentic.